If it's too late to worry and you're too blue to cry, then get ready for Dr. Lori Roth. She's a Ph.D., black belt, host, singer, songwriter, mom, gun owner, survivor, and red-blooded American through and through. From 3,000 feet up in the mountains of Washington, it's the Annie Oakley of the airwaves. Ready or not, here she comes, Dr. Lori Roth.
Welcome to our Unsolved Crime segment. Each and every week at this time, I have Susan Murphy Milano on. She is a national treasure. She's a best-selling author. She is a survivor. She has done all kinds of work to keep people alive and help teach them how to get out before it's too late. And we'll find out more about Susan Murphy Milano in just a moment, but she has brought with us another national treasure, Monica Quezon. She's the founder of the Q Center for Missing Persons, and she's always trying to find missing persons and often does. And this week there's another tragic story of a missing young woman. Welcome, Monica and Susan.
Thank you. I think for the listeners, they may remember LaShonda Townsend, who vanished from Mineral Wells, Texas, and we did the show soon after she had vanished in July of 2010, and they recovered her remains in October of 2011, but they still haven't found the person responsible. And Monica, I think you can go into a little bit more when LaShonda went missing. Krishanda, went missing. It was out in a field, wasn't it? Near the area where she lived.
Yes, it wasn't far away at all, and it was pretty much in her path of travel, which it was such a large path, because she would out there is so rural, so you can actually go to another town to see friends or maybe go get a burger or whatnot. So it wasn't anything unusual, and it was several miles away. But in that path going home, and it was between like one of those border, if you would, wooded areas that kind of like separate fields, that belong on a farm. And she was found in an area similar to that. So it was just, tragic, but I'm glad she's found now. Her family just actually put her to rest a little bit over a week ago. And it took quite a while, even after her recovery, for them to have the body returned to them. So they've at least been able to give her a proper burial and now begin to heal, because she leaves behind a very young son as well. So it's just, the entire town was definitely affected by her abduction and disappearance.
And so we go from that now to an unsolved homicide. And the Q Center is also doing work with families in these unsolved when the remains are recovered. Is that not true?
Yes, if they're a registered case when they were missing with us, they remain, they just move to a different category, in our files and in our website and what have you. And once they have been located, we found it imperative years ago, because we'd closed the case once they were, missing and found, we were done. And then what we found over the last 5 or 6 years is that a lot of these families we were still providing long-term care for, and hearing about, their unsolved crime and that they weren't getting help and whatnot. So we decided, with the cases that were registered with us, that we, if they remained unsolved, that we would build another page on our website and we would house them at our organization, because their files were being called upon too by not even, law enforcement or court, testifying or whatnot. So we began doing that about 5 or 6 years ago, holding the cases that, were still not solved 100%. So it's kind of brought us into another arena that we weren't expecting, but there was definitely a need for, because, like I said, once their case was done, I packed it up and it was over. But then I would get calls from investigators that they needed, certain items, or I'd get called to testify, or they needed a search report or whatever. And the families, we were still in communication with them, and they were, frustrated about their case not being worked on, or didn't know their legal rights to have a victim's advocate, or whatever the case may be. We just kept getting thrown back in the path of these cases because we were so close to them. So,
hold that thought. We'll be right back. We're talking with Monica Quezon of the Q Center and Susan Murphy Milano, survivor and best-selling author.
Not American Idol. So keep your shirt on and keep your powder dry. Dr. Lori Roth will be back in just mere moments. Her name Here's Dr. Lori Roth. Here she is again, right now.
Another beautiful young woman who was 3 months pregnant is missing. She's been missing for 46 days. Her mother, Michelle, is with us to talk about Candice Shields, age 20. Michelle, welcome aboard. Talk to the people. Welcome. I know this has got to just be so hard that words fail to even describe it. What is it like as the mom going through this, 46 days of this?
It's a horrible feeling. It is. It's hard to describe what there's not a word that describes what you feel. It's kind of like you're numb. I mean, you just can't feel. It is just a horrible, horrible feeling. I mean, it's definitely not something you wish upon anybody, because it is just, I mean, it's hard for me to go to bed, I mean, to lay down and physically not know where my daughter is. It is, I don't know, and just that alone, it is so, so hard. It is so, I struggle every day.
Yes.
All I can do is just do an hour per hour. I can't even think about tomorrow.
Tell the folks who aren't familiar with anything about your daughter's case, what happened and what do you know that happened, and what do we know so far?
Candice is just, she's very outgoing. She's very friendly. She's not one to run away. I mean, she has spurts where she likes to just go and take off with a friend, stay gone a day, maybe two, and she would get in contact with the family. Hey, I'm with a friend. I'll get back with you. I'll come home later, Mom or Dad. And this is just, I just can't imagine her leaving in the middle of the night like she did. She was at my mom and dad's house. It was 9:30. My dad was getting ready to go to bed, seen her in her bedroom, said, Candice, you need to get ready to, get ready to go to work in the morning. You're going to be going on your second day. And so she was like, okay. So she was on the phone with a friend, and he went to bed. And the next time they woke up, which was around 5:30 in the morning, which would be December the 11th, and noticed that she wasn't in a room. Her cell phone was, of course, plugged in like it was charging, and all her clothes were right there right there next to the bed.
You mean ready to go to work the next day?
Yes. I mean, it was all right there. I mean, it's just, and her purse was there, her ID, her makeup.
And she was gone.
Yes, and she
doesn't ever, most girls, Lori and Monica, they never leave without their makeup. Talk about how the makeup was your daughter's world. She wouldn't leave without that makeup or cell phone, would she?
No, my daughter is very hygienic. She loves to, keep herself pretty. I mean, she likes the glittery stuff, and she's always got her hair, fixed and everything. And even, and I've known her for for her to
well, she came out of you, so yeah. You do know her, yes.
Yes, oh yes. This characteristic is just, it's just not her. I mean, I can't understand why she would do this. I mean, even if she was at home and she would go to a friend's house, she took her cell phone, she took her purse. Even if she was going to go for an hour or just go around the corner, to the store with a friend, she would take her purse and her cell phone.
So she's at Grandma and Grandpa's. She's at Grandma and Grandpa's, and everybody's in bed now. Your father has a ritual of making sure front door, back door are specifically deadbolted, locked, and there's also dogs there, aren't there?
Yes, there is. And, you know, again, those dogs, they didn't bark. They didn't, I mean, it was just, I just can't believe that she would just walk out that door and not come back.
Do we know who she was talking with that night when he saw her on the phone?
She was talking to a boyfriend.
Okay.
That she was in a relationship with, a new relationship with?
Well, I know that they have been together for a little while, and I don't know the situation, so I can't really speak for her. I'm guessing that they were together for, I'm going to say, about 10 to 11 weeks.
Was he ever in the house over there by Grandma and Grandpa's?
He was. He had come to meet me and my husband. We came down from Mineral Wells, Texas, and we came in for Thanksgiving to Graham, Texas, and we met him for the first time. She was with him and with other family members, and we did meet this young man, and he seemed to be really nice. He didn't seem like he was a person that would do any harm to anybody. So,
but whoever the dog, you know, your father's got everything locked, and so whoever was there, you would be familiar. So the dogs wouldn't bark, or would they?
You know, that's kind of a hard question to answer. I would feel like those dogs would bark.
Yeah.
If they didn't know that person, but apparently those dogs did not bark, and that is like you said, that's a red flag right there. I mean,
so this was in the winter. This was in the winter. So
right.
Allegedly, did she have a car? Would it have made sense for her to leave in the middle of the night anyway in the cold, without someone being with her, or what is the speculation? What do the cops think?
Well, as a mother, she doesn't walk 2 blocks. No teenager walks 2 blocks. And Candice, she wasn't the one to just walk more than a few blocks without saying, "Hey, can you come pick me up and give me a ride to so and so, or you know, just down to the road to the local store?" So, you know, I don't know that she walked further than a few blocks. I mean,
and she didn't have a lot of clothes, a lot of warm clothing, so she was in a hoodie or a sweatshirt and pants and slippers, perhaps, or gym shoes?
Yeah. From what her girlfriend had described to my father, she left with a black hoodie and those pull-up pajama fuzzy pants with the logo Xbox on them. You can buy them at a Walmart. And she said her white Nike shoes were missing. And she said that's all that she took that night.
Okay, so then, and again, that when your father gets up, the back door is unlocked, so you know, and nothing's touched, there's no damage, so you know that something's happened because he checks all the doors in the house and sees she's gone.
Yes, that's correct.
And everything's there, so it doesn't make any sense that she's not there. Something's wrong because she just wouldn't get up and walk in the middle of the night out the door.
No.
She went with somebody obviously that she knew and that was familiar to her. And I think, Monica, you could speak to real quick about, you know, nobody just ups and goes, especially since she just started a new job. She was pregnant. She had a child, another toddler back home. She wasn't going to just up and go. She had to go familiar territory with somebody. She wouldn't have just walked out the door, would she have?
No, she wouldn't have. You know, this, like I said, the victims, you know, they know their loved one. You know, the families of these people that become missing, you have to listen to them. And like she said, she wouldn't leave without a cell phone. She wouldn't leave without her pocketbook. And even if she was in a hurry and maybe just thought she was running down the road or whatever, she would have probably still grabbed her cell phone. It's almost a security thing that teenagers have and young people. But, you know, obviously, I mean, her mom, you know, the family's concerned. It doesn't make sense. You know, why go out and not contact anyone? She had intentions on going to work the next day. I mean, it just, none of it makes sense. It's like, you know, something, you know, brought her outside or what have you. We don't know what happened at that point. And she's vanished. And, I mean, it's been, you know, going into quite a significant amount of time that, you know, there's no reason for her not to maintain some kind of contact. She doesn't have to run away. You know, she's 2 years old. And
on her Facebook page on the 10th of December and the 9th, it says she's looking for a car. Does anybody know where she can buy one? Mm-hmm. So, you know, there's no reason for her to, you know, go off and again, you know, we'll talk about when we come back about people citing and stories and things, but she left that back door thinking she was probably coming right back in, right, Mom?
Yeah.
And because she wouldn't have done that, and she certainly wouldn't have left her stuff, and maybe somebody said, here, just come outside with me, let's go talk in the car, and then that's it.
She just...
And how close are the houses at your parents' house to other neighbors' homes?
Yeah,
are they pretty close? Or they?
Yeah.
They're close.
The road goes east and west, and so on the west side, the house is probably about 8 feet apart, and then on the east side, the house has like a big driveway that goes all the way to the back to a garage that sits off the road, and that one I would say is at least 15 feet from my mom's side of the house to that other side. So, there is they're not like extremely close like some of the major larger cities. So, there's definitely a little bit of room there. But I mean, there's not a whole lot of houses. I think there's probably maybe 11 houses on that whole block.
So when your father last talked with Candice when she was on the phone, was that like what, 10 or 11 or 9:30 or 11? How late was it?
I think it was about 9:30.
Okay, so
night.
She still could have theoretically, she was talking on the phone with someone. She could have gone out to meet her boyfriend. Did anyone check with him? And you know, I would think the natural recourse would be, okay, if he was the one she was talking to, did she go meet him?
And also, he's the father of the child, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
But did anyone check that? I mean, was the boy denying that he talked with her, or what was the deal there?
The authorities did talk to him. He is currently not living in Graham anymore.
Since your daughter's been missing?
Yes. He is not currently staying in Graham. That's a question that I can't even answer. I wish I knew that answer. Maybe it would help a little bit more. Apparently,
so has he talked to you since she went missing?
He has not contacted me at all. And
this one makes my blood boil for a lot of reasons, and I know that I promise to be a good girl on the show today.
Well, that
but
doesn't make any sense.
We go back to this individual, this boyfriend, fathers another child in October, and a brand new baby, because I saw some information about him. And then, you know, he hooks up or meets your daughter somewhere in between there. She gets pregnant. And then he up and leaves town, doesn't even ever call you, concerned, helps with searches, leaves the area so that police kind of can't get to him. I don't know, that smells like a bad fish to me.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't sit well in my stomach either, if you want to ask.
I mean, I'm not trying to point fingers, but, you know, in these cases, this is, you know, to me, it's a clear cut of, I highly suspect intimate partner homicide here, and for a lot of other reasons in this case, and you know, what a coward to just leave town, not help with authorities. You don't run from if you're innocent.
No, hold on, we'll be right back.
No, this is not American Idol, so keep your shirt on and keep your powder dry. Dr. Lori Roth will be back in just mere moments. Her name is Dr. Lori Roth, and here she is again, right now.
So the beautiful Candice Shields, 20 years of age, has disappeared 46 days ago, and her mother, Michelle, has been telling us about this drama and horror show she's been living. I can't even imagine how much sleep you're losing. What would you like to say to the audience and to Candice if she's listening?
I would just like, if someone is out there and if you do have my daughter, if anybody knows even any information, for one, if you have her, please, if you could just return her to our family, because we miss her and we love her and we need her back. Her family needs her back. We miss her smile, and we're ready to just hold her and tell her that we miss her so much. And to any of the viewers and the listeners that are out there, if you know, if you've seen her, if you've heard her name before out there, if you could please just call the Q Network. They can help you get that information to the right people. If you just please, as a mom, I'm begging anybody out there that's listening, please. I need my daughter back. I miss her so much. I can't sleep. I can't even feel hardly anything. I mean, I just walk around in a daze just wondering, is that phone going to ring and somebody's going to have that best call that I've been waiting for. So please, if anybody could just help me find my daughter. There's flyers on the internet that you can download. If you want to help, a copy of that flyer that's on the Q Network and copy it and pass it around in your hometown. If anybody's out there that thinks that their community would really like to help, that would help us more than anything, just to get the word out that there is a precious 20-year-old daughter. She is a mother, a sister. She's a sibling. She has a little boy. I cannot speak for her son, but I'm sure, if he knew his mommy was missing, he would want her home as well. I mean, she's an aunt and a niece as well, and everybody is out there looking for her. So if anybody could just pass those flyers around and start asking questions. We don't know that she is in Graham, so if anybody could just please call.
What are the surrounding areas? Because you have church services. People can pass these out at church services and maybe copy them. What are the surrounding areas around Graham within, say, 100 miles?
There's Wichita Falls all the way to the Oklahoma border. Around that, I think it's Lawton. I really don't know that much area around the Wichita Falls. If you go southeast, there's Fort Worth and Dallas. There's Mineral Wells. There's Stephenville. And then when you go around, there's the PK Lake area, if anybody's familiar with that. And on the other side of PK, like I said, I really don't know that area on that side of the PK Lake. There's Breckenridge and Eastland. There's Palo Pinto, Abilene, Sweetwater. She does have friends that live in Abilene. If anybody out there that lives in Abilene, Texas, that has, if you know Candice, please look for her. Pass out those flyers and start asking questions. If there's someone out there that drives a truck, if you would please take one of these flyers and go with it out of state, that would help me so much to try to find my daughter.
What is the phone number of the Q Center and the website so people know where to go with any information they might have?
910-232-1687, and it's ncmissingpersons.org. That's very important. And I think she made a good point about, Monica, the truck. You know, if you're a say trucker, take these with you. Put them at the truck stops. Get them on the road. Then that helps too, doesn't it?
Yes, because it's a very large area. I mean, there's a lot of different communities. There's Weatherford, you know, like you said, Mineral Wells and all those areas close by. And I know I've been there firsthand, and Mineral Wells is very rural as well, you know, in the Palo Pinto County and whatnot. And so there's definitely truckers going through there 24/7. So that's a good idea to you know, hit truck stops. You can also you know, get them to, you know, in some of the cities, maybe to cab drivers and bus depots and that type of thing. But, you know, somebody out there, the biggest thing right now is that until a couple days ago, no one really knew she was missing because it wasn't picked up. And then we did a big poster on the ground campaign. You know, a bunch of our volunteers went down there with the family and stuff. And now the word's finally getting out and it's circulating and information is starting to come in. So I think the largest problem is that just people, you know, which is we always experience in a lot of cases, Susan, is that people don't know someone's missing. And, you know, unfortunately, they all don't get national news. They're not getting, you know, national coverage. And so unless you live in the immediate area outside probably 30 miles down the road, you know, somebody, especially in the rural areas, they're not big fans of buying the newspaper or subscribing. They may miss it on TV or, you know, they might, and if they're not listening to it on radio, I mean, they don't know until they hear it. And then usually those rumors are sketchy and they're like, oh, okay, now it clicks, you know. So you got to get people talking, and that's how you do, by informing them, hey, there's someone from your community missing. You know, as far as I'm concerned, they're all children, but she is definitely a child. And, you know, like her mom said, they miss her, they love her, they want her to know if she is out there. And if something's happened they're unaware of, you know, call home, let someone know you're okay. If someone knows that something's happened to her or has any information, has heard anybody talking, you know, call that into investigators, to law enforcement. They're there.
Talk about the privacy of that, Monica, because people think that it's going to come back on them and they're going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Talk about the tips.
You can always remain anonymous. You know, you can go on our website at www.ncmissingpersons.org. Click on Candice's picture. It'll bring you to the profile. There's a tip form there underneath it. You can remain anonymous. That will go straight to law enforcement. Any tips that we ever receive, law enforcement has knowledge of them so they can follow through, whether it's anonymous or not. You know, the tip needs to get in the right hands to the people who can investigate it. And she has a good team of investigators on the case. They need information. They need to get a trail of some kind of good information so they can follow it out. So they're eager. I know they're working. I know they're checking things out. So we need to try to help them get more information so they can find out what happened to her that night and where she may be from that point on.
And it may be something really silly, Lori, like, you know, man, I heard, so-and-so, they grabbed her, but it's not my place to open my mouth. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And because that person that possibly did something to Candice Shields is going to do it to somebody else. This is not cute. This is not safe. This is very dangerous. And if they did it to one person, they're going to do it to somebody else. Or they're going to threaten them and say, you know what, you open your mouth, that's it.
Well, and you can pretty much figure in the middle of the night in December, she's not going to disappear alone. She was talking to this boyfriend. See, that's highly suspicious to me. And he got other girls pregnant. So, and she disappears in the middle of the night, and magically, I can't believe that they're not investigating him like white on rice.
Well, there's just no excuse not to get involved. I mean, and nowadays you always can remain anonymous, whether it's law enforcement, us, or anyone else. So there's no excuse not to get involved and try to help somebody find their child.
Yeah.
And if anybody that has any human part to them would just sit back and imagine for 2 seconds how it would feel to not know where your loved one was, whether it's your child, your parent, your sibling, or whatnot, they would understand the caliber of this. So, you know, there's just not an excuse like I have to look the other way, because you can get a message to somebody of where, you know, especially information concerning this person and any other missing person. So we just encourage, you know, people, don't be scared. go to law enforcement, send a note, send an anonymous note if you have to, whatever you have to do to make yourself feel safe, but get that information to investigators so that we can bring this child home.
Amen.
That's all they want. I mean, she disappears just before Christmas. She's got her whole life ahead of her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and no one disappears before Christmas. Come on.
No. No, they don't.
That's the biggest family time of the year. She's still young, everybody's looking forward to Christmas. Nobody disappears willingly before Christmas. You never even hear, I don't think I've even ever had a missing person, even a teenager that might have run away. They usually come home on Christmas, but they don't run away right before Christmas.
Do you happen to know, Michelle, if there was any discussion back and forth? She was pregnant. Was the boyfriend upset? Was he pressuring her to get an abortion? Was that a problem?
No, they actually, I don't know the reason why he had to, he got a job interview with I'm not for sure if it's a Target or a Walmart, and apparently when he got the call, he took the job, found out it was out of town, so I'm sure, like I said, I can't really speak for my daughter, but I'm sure that they discussed it, and he went ahead and took the job, and so she ended up, staying with my mom and dad. So, they were talking about, possibly having a family, and they were, he didn't bring up marriage at Thanksgiving, but he did give her like a promise ring. So, that's just a question.
That should mean promise to find her, too. I mean, that's really sad.
Yes, it is.
Well, thank you for all that you've done. Hang in there, man.
No, this is not American Idol, so keep your shirt on and keep your powder dry. Dr. Lori Roth will be back in just mere moments. Her name is Dr. Lori Roth, and here she is again, right now.
I understand, Monica, there's breaking news going on right now. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, over there in James Island, South Carolina, which is near the area of the cell phone ping and areas we've been searching for the last 2.5 years for Brittany Drexel, Charleston County investigators are saying that there's a possible abduction on James Island. Authorities are searching for a white female described as 5'6", 5 to 5'8" in height, blonde hair, wearing a pink T-shirt and flip-flop style shoes. According to the investigators, the victim was last seen walking near or around the 2100 block, which the actual address is 2190 St. James Drive, while a white sedan vehicle, possibly an Lexus, accompanied by 3 black males, approached her. The sheriff's office says that one of the males left the vehicle, grabbed the victim, and threw her in the back seat of the vehicle. The vehicle was heading towards Central Park or maybe Maybank Highway. The Charleston County Sheriff's Office is treating this incident as a possible kidnapping, and that one of the flip-flops is actually that she was wearing at the time of the abduction was recovered by authorities. So anyone with any information, please call Crime Stoppers at 843-554-1111 or the Charleston County Sheriff's Office, 843-202-1700. Again, a white female, 5'6" to 5'8", blonde hair, wearing a pink shirt, obviously with one flip-flop. At this point, she'd probably be barefoot. And the vehicle is a white sedan of some sort, possibly a Lexus, that the vehicle is heading towards Central Park or Mid-Bank Highway. And this is near and about Charleston County, South Carolina, guys.
And this is where the pings for Brittany Drexel, who went missing on spring break in Myrtle Beach, but the pings for the cell phone, same location, same area, right?
Yeah, it's near the area. It's near about the area. It's not the exact area, but it's definitely near, the zone is what we call it. So it's definitely near the zone of where, we have been focusing the main line of all her searches, which is in the Charleston County area.
And so people don't get confused. She was abducted from Myrtle Beach, but then through other information and through her cell phone, it is where it's Charleston County, so that's 2 different things, so people know.
We'll be right back.
It's actually a couple counties away because her her cell phone, left Myrtle Beach, and went through Georgetown County, and then went through.
Hold that thought, Monica.
Keep your shirt on and keep your powder dry. Dr. Lori Roth will be back in just mere moments. Her name is Dr. Lori Roth, and here she is again, right now.
We're talking with Monica Cason of the Q Center and Susan Murphy Milano, and you can visit Susan at SusanMurphyMilano.com.
No, actually, I prefer people go to DocumentTheAbuse.com, which is the new site that we have up for people who need to, get this abuse documented. Over the weekend you saw Mike Huckabee, who was the former governor of Arkansas, his own cousin was murdered, and his cousin's wife, Amy, lost their life to this intimate partner violence homicide that had been ongoing for a long time. Again, this site is important, and people need to know what they need to do. This is not a silent epidemic anymore. This is a crime, and it's taking our mothers, our women, it's taking the Candice Shields and the Krishanda Townsends of the world, and we have a voice to make it stop. So,
Susan, share with the folks what you came up with and that you talk about the evidentiary abuse affidavit. What is that again, and where can people find out about that in one of your books?
If you go, the book is Time's Up, and it teaches you what to do. You have to be 10 steps ahead of people. As I had a mental health person on 30 years, a couple weeks ago on one of my shows, and she said that the first time that she went through the book, she didn't follow everything, so it was a dress rehearsal. A couple of months ago, she went through the book, followed the plan. She did a video. She did what I call a will, which is witnessed and notarized, whether police have ever been there or not, of the events that are taking place, of the violence, of the threats. And then it's notarized and witnessed, and she does it on a video. But she also followed the other stuff about how to be 10 steps ahead of him, about how not to let anybody know what's going on. And she said that because she did all that, she is safe and alive this time because she followed it through. And they get scared, they get afraid, they think that if they just do what they say when they're in these violent relationships, he's going to be okay with this or she's going to be okay with this, because it happens to both men and women. And in Time's Up, the evidentiary abuse affidavit and video, it was born out of Stacy Peterson going missing October 28th, 2007 out of Bolingbrook, Illinois. That's also a Q case. She vanished. And Drew Peterson is awaiting trial on Kathleen Salvio, wife number 3. And again, it's not hearsay, and that's what we say. All of these women, Monica, I know, they tell somebody, but they don't do anything and document it, do they, Monica?
No, they don't, and unfortunately, this what you've come up with is going to be a voice, and we are supporting it as well at our conference. Susan's going to be one of our instructors this year at our National Roundtable Conference in March, and we're hoping to get the word and get more support for this because it's vital, especially if the victim's not there anymore and people, law enforcement choose to go to the prosecution without a body. This is something you're going to have a voice. You're going to have this information. And I think over time it is crucial, but it's going to become even more crucial that this type of things that the victims do are going to help the outcome, whether they're there to speak for themselves anymore or not. It's going to be crucial because you're going to have the documentation, you're going to have the voice, even if the person's not there. So, we're big advocates of this.
But you're going to be able to collect the DNA. You're going to be able to collect his toothbrush, his hair. You're going to be able to tell law enforcement and prosecutors who this guy is. That's never happened before.
Yep.
And so he can't deny.
I think this is important, and I think that, there's so many cases, and I've seen the uprise in the last couple of years with missing women that, it's because of their spouse or their boyfriend.
Well, it absolutely is. We're running out of time. Can you both give each of your websites one more time? Susan, what was that website again?
DocumentTheAbuse.com.
And Monica, what's yours?
It's www.ncmissingpersons.org. And I also want to say to please call the Grand Police Department concerning Candice Shields.
You know by now that God, country, and our moral heritage are not for sale. And our great country needs your fervent prayers. Talk to your friends. Talk to your enemies. Spread the word about The Roth Show. Check out Lori's articles, archives, and great sponsors. Go to therothshow.com. Remember to pray for our country. And remember to be back next time, right here for The Roth Show.